Hello and welcome to CTV News across Canada for Thursday, February 19th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
It's a great honor to be on the same team as you at a crucial time.
Matt Jeneroux and Prime Minister Mark Carney sat side by side in Edmonton today, speaking as colleagues instead of adversaries. Jeneroux says he knew he wanted to work with Carney after the PM's speech in Davos.
I think for me, that's where a lot of the world changed. I think it opened a lot of eyes for Canadians, Albertans, Edmontonians, just how serious this national meeting crisis truly is.
During the federal election last spring, Jeneroux won his riding for the Conservatives by more than 3,000 votes. In November, there were rumors Jeneroux would cross the floor. Instead, he announced he would resign as an MP. We asked people in Edmonton Riverbend about Jeneroux's move.
Well, I voted Liberal in the last election, and obviously Mr. Jeneroux was elected here, and so I'm just pleased that he crossed the floor and we're that much closer to a majority government.
The man's a coward. He's a liar.
Do you feel betrayed?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, people here did not vote for a Liberal government, and that's who he's supporting.
Jeneroux is the third Conservative to cross the floor in as many months. This MacEwan University political science professor says under Carney, the Liberal Party has become more centrist, making the move less surprising.
This becomes much more of a thing that they can do in terms of switching parties and still feel like they're representing their constituents, they're able to achieve and focus on the issues that they want to.
The recent efforts to bring Alberta and Ottawa closer together, Boyd says adding an extra Albertan voice will help.
I think that makes a big deal for the Liberal Party and the federal government here in Alberta.
Leader Pierre Poilievre is accusing Jeneroux of betraying his constituents. He says Carney is trying to seize a Liberal majority through dirty backroom deals.
All right, Miriam, even with Jeneroux joining the Liberals, the party's no closer to a majority.
No, they're not. 172 seats are needed for a majority government in the House of Commons. In last April's election, 169 Liberals were elected. Since that time, 3 Conservatives have crossed the floor. And also in that time, 2 Liberal MPs have left politics, and there have been no moves for by-elections in those ridings. Results were also just overturned by the Supreme Court in one riding in Quebec. And the Liberals won that by 1 vote. A by-election will be held there as well. Jeff?
All right, thank you, Miriam. That's Miriam Valdes-Carletti live for us tonight.
In a bombshell report, BC's Information and Privacy Commissioner found in the days and weeks after the deadly Lapu-Lapu attack, healthcare employees were snooping for information, digging through the victims' medical files.
It was curiosity that really drove them to be snooping on these records.
So much so, the report says half of the victims who received care at medical facilities had their privacy breached. In total, the commissioner found 71 snooping incidents by 35 employees between Vancouver Coastal Health, Fraser Health, Provincial Health Services Authority, and Providence Healthcare.
These are shocking numbers.
Yes, I mean, I was quite alarmed.
And the workers are caught by their employers after being flagged that they didn't have authority to be viewing the medical records, leading to consequences.
There's no excuse for this behavior. I think the report indicates that some letters were sent to some employees, suspensions were made, and that some did lose their jobs.
It's quite egregious.
Filipino BC telling CTV News they were left in the dark the whole time, just learning Wednesday that the victims were victimized again.
It's just re-traumatizing them. We want to make sure that not only is their privacy protected, but that they have the reassurance that the system in all of its forms is set up in a way to be able to protect and take care of them.
While the community continues to heal and mourn the loss of the 11 lives, the Privacy Commissioner has unveiled a list of recommendations to tighten up protocols for health authorities to follow to further ensure this doesn't happen again.
This needs to be handled with the utmost care so that people can have a high degree of trust in their public bodies.
Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
Another blast of winter for the GTHA.
It's so cold! You know, it's not very nice. I'd rather it was like yesterday when it was +5 out.
A yellow winter storm warning issued for Toronto and surrounding areas for much of the day.
Don't be in a hurry. Don't try to make up time. because, that's usually going to end up in heartache.
OPP Sergeant Kerry Schmidt says by 3:30 today, there had already been 160 crashes on our roads, with 40 on the go. With that in mind, he says if you've been in an accident,
get off the highway, get to someplace safe, stay in your vehicle. We've had far too many people get out of their vehicles only to be struck.
While the worst of it is over, the roads have been a wet, slippery mess with poor visibility at times.
It's hard.
Not very pleasant.
I don't want to drive like this. It's not safe for me.
The road conditions such a concern, many school boards decided to shut down busing, with public schools in Hamilton, along with York University, closed for the day.
The school canceled the school bus.
While salters were out on the roads finding salt for your own drive.
There's like 4 gas stations around here. Nobody has it, just this one has it. So it's funny, nobody has salt.
Salting and shoveling, not a fun task on a day like today.
Really heavy. It's really hard to shovel.
Although many who had to be out and about trying to make the best of it.
Not great for me, but she loves it, so.
It's time for round 2, yay.
Welcome to Canada.
Still, as evening falls and temperatures drop, Environment Canada warns roads and sidewalks will likely become icy and slippery. The yellow winter storm warning was replaced by a freezing digital advisory around 4 p.m. today. Environment Canada warning that there is an increased risk of injury due to slips and falls given ice buildup. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice.
Regina is digging out from a blast of winter.
Well, I just hope that this is it for me.
More than 25 centimeters falling on the city in 24 hours.
I was hoping we were done because I like spring and summer because it's easier to cut the lawn.
City crews out in full force as snow routes have now been declared.
It's all hands on deck.
With all 26 plows and graders, along with 12 sanders and 8 sidewalk tractors working around the clock, in addition to hired contractors.
This is our biggest snowfall of this season for sure. In terms of prepping for it, honestly, it's the same prep that we prep for 5 centimeters of snow to 25 centimeters of snow.
Even though road conditions less than ideal, police reporting just 4 collisions over the course of the storm. The city focusing its clearing efforts on high-priority roads and transit routes. Staying ahead of the snow, however, easier said than done.
If it was 10 centimeters of snow and fell straight down nice and fluffy, it would be easy. But you get even a few centimeters and an 80-kilometer wind, and things just get plugged up.
Crews at the airport also busy. Several flights in and out of YQR delayed or canceled, and not just because of conditions in Regina.
If we have a flight going into Calgary and they've got a storm and they can't land, they're not going to take off from here. So the weather on the arrival airport matters as well.
Now, as the snow stops falling, the city will begin its systematic plow, reminding residents to be patient, adding they will begin residential street clearing based on priority over the next few days. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Viewer video shows the robbery in progress. 4 people in dark clothes, masks, hoods, and gloves taking jewelry from a store at Stone Road Mall.
They used hammers to smash a couple of display cases and made off with an undisclosed amount of jewelry.
The 4 thieves ran off, police releasing these photos of the people they're looking for. And police say a 5th person was waiting outside in a white 4-door Honda Civic, a model from around 2018 with 5-spoke rims, a sunroof low to the ground, and the license plate DFEX 781, which is registered to a different vehicle. The scary scene unfolding around 4 in the afternoon on Tuesday.
I know the stores in the mall immediately went into essentially lockdown, closed the doors, kept customers inside. Until it was deemed safe to leave the store.
The vehicle was last seen traveling southbound on Edinburgh Road South. Police say no physical injuries were reported, and while they can't comment on whether the theft could be linked to any other recent jewelry store robberies,
our investigators certainly work with their counterparts and other police services all over Southern Ontario. So when a major crime like this does happen, we do share that information and look for similarities.
Guelph police would like to speak with anyone who witnessed the robbery or saw the vehicle fleeing the scene. They're also looking for any video or dash cam footage that may have been captured.
Tony.
All right, Krista, thank you. CTV's Krista Simpson reporting.
In 2023, Alex Frédéric Mignon tried to schedule a haircut at Station 10, a small hair salon that charges by the minute.
The concept seemed great because they charge based on the time that it takes to do the cut and not based on the gender of the person.
Alex identifies as non-binary and was disappointed to find that during the booking process, they were still asked to select between a men's or women's cut. They sent an email asking for accommodation and say they were told to just select one or the other.
It is not fair and it's not legal to tell me, no, since you don't fit into my worldview, I don't want to do anything with you and I don't want you as my customer.
Alexis Lebrec is a co-owner of the Salon. He says the policy has nothing to do with ideology. He says because the business model is low cost, high volume, they only take bookings online and ask for their customers' gender to help with scheduling.
Typically it takes longer for a woman's haircut than a man's haircut, so we optimize our agendas accordingly. We also get statistics for marketing.
But for Alex, the lack of accommodation had a major impact.
I was already spiraling into a huge mental health crisis, and it precipitated my fall into complete disability. I was unable to work for a year and a half.
Alex filed a complaint with the Human Rights Commission, which recommended a $500 settlement. Lebrec refused to pay, so Alex sued for $12,000.
And we fought back because we didn't agree with the prejudice that we might have caused.
Lebrec says a few months after receiving the initial complaint, the salon updated its website to include a gender-neutral booking option. Earlier this month, the courts agreed with the Human Rights Commission and ordered Station 10 to pay $500 in damages.
It's clearly a precedent. The amount we have to pay is relatively small compared to the precedent it creates for legal debates in Quebec.
For Alex, who also made headlines in 2023 for a hunger strike to try to force RAMQ to provide a gender-neutral option on the health insurance card, the precedent alone is a win.
It was discrimination, and non-binary people should not be forced to pick between men and women if they don't want to identify as such.
They say it may seem like a small inconvenience to some, but to them, it's about being able to participate in society. Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
It's not easy math. Somehow, the Susan Holt government has to find ways to make more and spend less without harming services to combat its $1.3 billion deficit. Balancing the books before the next election, says this political scientist, is likely out of reach.
I don't necessarily think that those budget deficits that are now above $1 billion are going to be easy to get back down.
The province unveiled its historic deficit yesterday. The finance minister warned his next budget is going to be a tough one. They've released some options, like increasing fees and permits and introducing highway tolls, or closing schools with fewer than 100 students.
That's what we're going to get is deficits during this next number of years in order to solve problems. The key issue is whether this current government are putting the money in the right places.
When we asked people along the streets of downtown Fredericton their thoughts, most admitted they didn't have strong feelings about it. Some said they weren't aware, but a few shared that it does have them worried.
It bothers me because I can't put my finger on what it is. It's one thing to borrow for things that we want and need for future generations, but I'm not sure what we're borrowing for.
It may be time for a new game plan, says Jamie Gillies.
It's the difference between the Higgs government, which focused like a laser on fiscal conservatism, at the expense of programs atrophying to the point where there was huge problems in the system. The Liberal government is the antithesis to that. So run the deficits, own the deficits, and move on.
New Brunswickers have 2 more days to share their thoughts on what the government should do. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Bruce McAllister heads the Premier's Calgary office and was the chair of the Alberta Next Commission when he said this to a teen questioning the panel.
Your parents should turn you over your knee. Let's go over here.
He apologized for that, but Wednesday he was courting controversy again, taking to X decrying Canada's record of immigration, saying, "The people orchestrating this reckless, unsustainable mass immigration into Canada fill me with profound disgust." In the lengthy tweet, he went on to say, "Why import from nations with failed systems when our Judeo-Christian heritage and principles have worked so well here?" CTV contacted McAllister for clarification, but he hung up on us, so we asked the Premier.
Do those views of Mr. McAllister about countries of origin and Judeo-Christian values represent the views of you, the Premier's office, and the United Conservative Party?
Well, I can tell you that Western society is based on the Socratic Judeo-Christian tradition. If you go back and look about why it is we have the society we do, there's no question that there are some foundational influences to that.
Smith also defended Alberta's record of welcoming immigrant diaspora communities, but later under questioning seemed to place the blame for school complexity issues on immigrant children.
Whether because they come from war-torn countries, don't speak English, or have other types of issues with delays, it has put an immense pressure, almost to the point of breaking, on many of our schools.
McAllister's tweet mirrors the language of far-right groups around the world, according to immigration lawyer Raj Sharma.
It sort of smacks of things that we've heard from other places, whether it's Brexit, of the far right, whether it's from France, whether it's from the MAGA and the Trump crowd as well.
Smith's chief of staff also tweeted about immigration, hinting the Premier may be making changes. Rob Anderson posted, "Watch the televised address of Premier Danielle Smith Thursday. This absolute insanity has to stop. It will." Smith would only say she has several topics to address Thursday, the economy being top of list. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
For Zoe Amos, the ability to turn right on a red light is something she's come to expect.
I think one of the advantages of living in Ontario was turning right on red.
She says it's a big difference from where she grew up.
I'm a Quebecer, born and raised, and it drives me insane that in Montreal I can't turn right on a red.
One councillor wants to make that happen here, but it appears city staff are hitting the brakes on that idea.
I've had a lot of near misses when it comes to right turn on red, and it's a demand that really came from the community. I think the frustration is that a lot of our road and traffic laws are designed to maximize the flow of traffic, of car traffic, and they're not necessarily focused on pedestrian safety.
Ariel Troster asked city staff to look at banning rights on red at all downtown intersections. But the head of Public Works says that could create potential safety impacts and traffic congestion. Another councillor agrees with that.
It actually creates a queuing situation where people typically would be able to make that right-hand turn safely after coming to a full stop. Now they actually will line up, and it actually forces people to speed through where it makes it far more dangerous actually for pedestrians that have the light.
Drivers have mixed opinions on the idea.
This is a danger zone, so I drive, but this is a mess of a place to drive. Turning right on a red, that's the least of my worries.
I don't think that's right. I mean, we should be able to have freedom to drive the way we want to drive.
Turning right on red is already banned at some Ottawa intersections.
I totally respect and understand. Like, one of the things they've done to try to alleviate that is at the bridge, the Pretoria Bridge. Turning right now, like, is really complicated. It's very safe compared to how it was. That was a really dangerous spot.
People are going to be doing it out of habit and being ticketed.
But a full ban would mean a major adjustment for drivers like Amos.
I guess I'd have to learn to live with it, and I'd probably avoid the downtown core.
Still, Troster says the debate isn't over.
They're really stuck in 50s and 60s standards, where the concern is, how can I get that car through the intersection 30 seconds faster?
Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
President Peter Devlin made it clear early in Tuesday's town hall meeting that Fanshawe College's struggles are continuing.
Tough times in the post-secondary sector, particularly in the college sector,
and indeed at Fanshawe College.
Devlin's presentation took place in the London campus auditorium. He laid out how expenses continue to outpace revenues, projecting a $26.5 million deficit this year, which could balloon to over $54 million in 27-28. He also noted that enrollment continues to decline.
Last year, Fanshawe College leadership announced they were cutting 400 positions. That number has now ballooned to over 500 positions, representing about 40% of the workforce.
To be very specific, we need 163 more positions to have achieved that target of 500 positions.
Last week, the provincial government committed $6.4 billion over 4 years for post-secondary education. It's also allowing the raising of tuitions by 2% a year over the next 3 years. Devlin cautioned that the approximately $1.6 billion worth of annual funding will be shared by 47 colleges and universities across the province, along with other institutions and programs.
Listen, I'm encouraged by the announcement, but I wouldn't want you to think it's the answer to all of our challenges, because I don't feel that it is yet.
To this point, 40 programs have been cut at Fanshawe College, and Devlin says they continue to look for efficiencies.
Tough decisions follow, that is for certain, and I continue to be committed to you in terms of being open and transparent.
Devlin says they're embracing the province's mandate to create training and education programs that will meet the needs of a changing economy, and that should open the door for new programs to be added.
By 2035, Ontario will need 1 million more. That's more college graduates in skills such as health, skilled trades, technology, and advanced manufacturing.
Mark Feltham, president of OPSU 110, the union that represents faculty at the college, declined to comment on Devlin's latest update, saying the union is awaiting the impacts of the province's funding allotment. Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
Bernie seconder, all those in favor? And those opposed? And that carries. Thank you.
Conflicting opinions on how the town of Collingwood should fix its lack of parking in historic downtown. In Chambers today, a motion put to council that considered eliminating patios along sidewalks, something Councillor Chris Potts brought forward. Patios on sidewalks have been in place since the COVID-19 pandemic to allow restaurants additional space. Councillor Potts says there was some confusion in the interpretation of the motion and how many businesses would be impacted.
I don't want anybody to think here that there's any discussion of getting rid of patios. It's just removing them off the street area and back onto the curb where the initial design was back in 2010.
The elimination of patios on the sidewalk will make room for 14 additional parking spots, affecting 6 businesses.
We have a very vital downtown, lots of different offerings, and all of them need parking and need be able to draw people to their business.
Other businesses will be able to pivot and have patios that don't interfere with the sidewalk. Mayor Yvonne Hamlin telling CTV News that a parking study has been commissioned in the downtown area, with results coming back to council in the coming months.
People like to sit outside in the summer, and when they're finished their dinner, well, maybe they're going to shop in one of the shops. And I have found the patios traditionally have been a great boost to economic development.
Restaurants along Hurontario Street telling CTV News how essential patios are to their business.
It's part of our business model. It's part of, we work this into the community, the economy. This is what we hire staff to. It's a huge part of our business model, because summer is prime time for people to want to enjoy patios.
Restaurant owners saying there does need to be a solution for parking.
What makes a downtown core attractive to tourists and to locals and creates a dynamic energy is probably not the solution. Perhaps something like a parking structure on what is currently just a flat parking lot.
Well, despite the snow, businesses that I spoke with cannot wait for the weather to warm up and welcome visitors in for the busy summer season. Luke Samard, CTV News, Collingwood.